All right, it is 7 o'clock. We'll call this meeting to order. Bridget, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Backus.
Here.
Councilmember Bain. Here. Councilmember Husnick.
Here.
Councilmember Eigner.
Here.
Mayor Winnick.
Here. Thank you, Bailey. I'll ask everyone to rise for Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And that brings us to the open forum. Dick Cheetah.
Dick Cheetah, 21833 Healy. Mr. Mayor and Council, I have some concerns. And the concerns I have are the direction that the city is taking and is on a path of leading all the other communities around here in taxes. Now, you're going to ask me where that information came from, and it comes directly from Washington County. And of the 7 communities in the north portion of Washington County, Forest Lake is by far the leader in tax rate. The closest one would be Scandia and Hugo, and they're 15 to 20% less than we are. You got to recognize that contrary to what realtors have come in here and said, that the schools are what bring in housing into your community, they're an amenity to the community. What needs to happen here and what drives growth is a couple of things: controlled spending, taxation, utilities, etc. And coupled with interest rates that make a payment for a family or a business affordable. We can't be the leader in taxation and expect the growth to come. I think you have seen other communities around us grow, and if you take the time and go to the county and look up what the tax capacities are, you're going to find the same information I did. The concern then that I have is that the 5 of you are those who in the future meeting are going to determine what truth and taxation outcome is going to be. So far, we've seen an increase in valuation by the county of about 7.5%, and I've checked that, and it's pretty much a blanket across the entire community. You also have an increase in the levy. These both play a role in added cost to the homeowner or the business. I think that we're in for the largest increase in taxes that we've seen in probably the last 20 years. The reason for that is coupled an increase by Washington County, an increase by you folks here, and a major increase by the school district. When you have an average home of $275,000 to $300,000 in your community as a median, and you're going to increase taxes by $400 to $500 on those homes, you can use the marketing strategy and say it's only going to be $30 a month, or it's only going to be 20 cups of coffee, or forget your donuts in the morning, or whatever it is, in order to make the payment. But there's a lot of people in this community who are in fixed income or controlled income. Now, I've gone one step further, and you're not going to like it. I've looked up, because you're responsible for the spending of this community and responsible to the community itself, I want to be sure, in transparency, that you folks are paying your fair share. I went one step further and pulled, because it's public record, all 5 of you. 2 of you are on the top end, 1 is in the media, and 2 are in the bottom end. So all I can say to you is I hope that you have good discretion when you apply the truth in taxation numbers for the future, because I think there's going to be a lot of people in the spring that are going to be shocked when they see what their statement looks like. And maybe even the tax assessor will be knocking at your door, those of you who aren't paying your fair share. Thank you.
Thank you. Janelle Nordahl.
Thank you again, guys. Good to see you. Just on behalf of the Legion again, I brought our schedule for December coming up, and we have a lot of cool events, family events, veterans events, free dinners. So if it's okay with you, Mayor, if I could just set them over there, and if they just want to grab them, they can.
Yeah, I think we can put it on our website too, can't we?
Yeah, depending upon what the event is, I have done that in the past.
That's true.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, it's everything that's with the club and the Post and a little bit of everything.
All right,
all
perfect.
I
Well,
have.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dan, we were going to have the Legion on the EDA meeting too to talk about the 4th of July.
I will get that scheduled.
All right, great, thank you. And Ron Schaefer.
Ron Shaver, Forest Lake. I was listening to the lady in the parks talk about the equipment is all decrepit and old, sort of like me. But when I ask for more money, nobody gives me anything. So why should I give anything to the parks? We don't have any parks where I live. Parks are for the people with 30, 40, and 50-foot lots, city slickers. Out where I live, we have acreage. We don't need parks, and I don't want to pay for them. Just like I don't want to pay for streetlights that I can't see. We've taken it in the, you know what, for all this years that we've been annexed. We don't get our fair share by any means. And I don't know how to stop that. And I noticed that when they were running for mayor, everybody thought, give the schools the money. God, I don't know how much money you want to give them. We got a governor now that's going to give away a whole lot more. When do we stop? When do you get through paying your tax on schools? None of my kids been in school for 30 years. I haven't been in for 60 years. When are we done? Does anybody know the answer to that? I don't know. Nobody says anything anyway. Let's see if we can't put some money in the pockets of the residents, you know. When you think about raising taxes, try to stop it. Say to yourself, let's see if we can get by without it. That's my goal. To keep my money in my pocket and spend it on my needs, not other people's needs in the city here. So please keep that on your mind when you're doing the budget. Thank you.
And that ends open forum for tonight. Takes us to the consent agenda. So I'll look for approval of the consent agenda or changes anybody would like to make to that.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, regular agenda. 7A, CloudX Vape. Somebody like to come up to the podium for that?
Sorry, one more time?
What's that? There's a revocation hearing with somebody like to come up and,
I'm so sorry, I'm actually hard of hearing. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council. My name is Diane Hughes, and I'm involved with the business that basically you're thinking about revoking our license. We had another, what's called a sting, and we failed compliance. And this is Ryan, one of the employees that it happened to. He's a newer employer. He did go through training, a training that we did. The manager at the company has, in fact, gone through the training that you
I
guys
think
set up.
before we go too far here, there was a request for a continuance.
We would like to do that, please.
So I'd like to know why you need a continuance.
Pardon me?
I'd like to know why you're requesting a continuance.
Well, I tried to take and get the lawyer that we couldn't get at this time because I didn't realize that you had it every week. I thought it was a 2-week between meetings. And so I wasn't prepared till I looked at the notes and I thought, oh my goodness, we were supposed to have it tonight, not next week. So I do apologize for that. But I would like to have counsel with me if I could at all, please.
All right. Bridget, can you speak to where we're at with getting a continuance on this, or?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mayor, members of the council, this was previously scheduled for a license revocation hearing. As your packet materials indicate, notice of the hearing, time, date, and place was previously sent to the license holder by the city clerk. I believe it was received earlier in the month, I want to say November 14th, if that's correct. It was sent on the 12th. City staff did receive correspondence today from an attorney who represents the licensee and/or potentially other parties in this matter, requesting a continuance of this hearing in order for them to attend. The attorney indicated he was unavailable to attend the hearing this evening. I don't know if we had any further correspondence from that attorney regarding their availability for an appearance at either the scheduled at this point December 3rd or December 10th meeting. But my understanding is that he has been in communication with the license holder and does intend to appear on their behalf at a rescheduled hearing should the council choose to continue the hearing to allow the attorney to be present. And as noted in the correspondence you received, the city code does provide license holders with the ability to appear at any hearing regarding potential licensing action and to be represented by counsel should they so choose.
All right, thank you. Given the request for continuance, I'd like input from the council.
Okay, if my understanding is correct, the letter had gone out with a correct date of tonight's meeting?
Yes, it had.
So I don't understand why, if you received the letter, why you didn't make arrangements to have your attorney?
I've been involved with a lot of things, and that's not an excuse, but that's what happened, and I didn't realize the dates.
Are you the actual license holder?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
But you did receive the letter.
Yes, I did. I did get it.
And I guess the question is, I have a question to you, Bridget. Should we take action tonight? Do they still have the right to appeal?
Mayor, members of the council, should the council take adverse licensing action this evening, that could be appealed. Basically, the next step would be district court or the Court of Appeals, but it would not be to this body. There's no reconsideration per se. So there is an appeal that they would be afforded to a court at that time.
Are they still allowed an appeal even if their attorney's present? Say if we held it, they didn't like the outcome, they could still appeal it at that point anyway, right?
Mayor, members of the council, that's correct. I mean, the issue at hand is whether or not, again, they must be afforded due process. So what does due process look like in a licensing context? Well, it's notice, it's an opportunity to be heard, it's an opportunity to present their own evidence. So in this particular context, if the council were to hold the hearing tonight, and they wanted to be represented by an attorney. Obviously, we don't have a lot of the facts as far as why that attorney isn't here. Were they retained at 10 o'clock this morning? Were they retained 2 weeks ago and didn't tell the city they couldn't make it till today? That's not information that staff has on hand. However, the consideration is whether or not that provided them all of the necessary due process when they have gone through the effort of making contact with an attorney and are seeking a short continuance for that attorney to be present.
All right. Well, I think I'm inclined to let this one go for another week to make sure they have an attorney present at that point.
It'd be a week or 2 weeks.
Whatever it is, I mean, we can, do we have a meeting scheduled for next week? Or is it? Yes. There's one scheduled right now for next week, so, yeah, I'm fine with letting it go another week. To give them a chance to have legal representation. I think if it is appealed to a district court and we didn't have them, the opportunity to have a lawyer present, I think we would have a very weak case on our hands, so. Does this prohibit them from selling in the meantime, or is their license still valid?
Your Honor, their license is still valid. No action has been taken. Their license is valid through the end of this year. So they are able to continue on in business until such time as the council may at a future date take an adverse licensing action against them.
Okay. And their license renews at the first of the year then?
That's the first,
Yep.
correct?
At this time, I haven't received a renewal application for the business. But yes, it would renew on the first of the year if I did receive a application and it was approved by council.
Marla, your thoughts?
I think, given the nature of the business and the impact of license revocation, I'm open to considering an extension for a week. I think, give an opportunity to get all information in front of us. I can be on board with that. It is a week.
Thank you.
Okay. Blaine?
I'm fine with extending it a week. I would like to entertain the idea of maybe suspending it until that date.
Suspending their license until that date?
I don't,
I have hesitations without them having legal representation.
I think you're going a slippery slope doing that.
Yeah.
My take is that you have another week, at least that it kind of ended as far as any obligation with the city having another attorney present, so.
The interim revocation or suspension you're looking for, I don't think it's defined within our guidelines. I guess maybe just personal plea of, given the nature of the offenses, if I'm you, I'm carding every individual coming in the store between now and next Monday. And let's talk more on Monday.
No, I'm gonna make the assumption then you have no issue if our police go in there in the next week
No.
at any time?
Not at all.
Park their vehicle out front of your
No,
business?
they can.
You're fine with all that?
That's fine.
You hear that, chief? Thank you. Ed, did you?
yeah, I really don't have a problem with the extension of a week. I don't think it's going to change anything. What's happened has already happened. We're just going to delay our decision a week.
Yeah.
But at least you will have the opportunity to be represented by legal counsel.
Thank you.
So I don't have a problem with waiting a week and crossing all the Ts, dotting all the Is.
Feel good that we've received all relevant information, which
Card everybody.
I would like to clarify, it's your responsibility to make sure you have representation next week.
Yes,
If they
and
can't
we
make
do
it,
have one.
you better have them get someone else to show up or whatever, but
I'm so sorry I didn't hear the last part.
if for some reason your appointed legal counsel, your hired legal counsel can't make it next week, you need to find someone else. I mean, we can't keep
Yes.
putting this off, so.
Thank you.
I do have one point of clarification. I think the last time you were in front of this council on a very similar charge, and that I think the result was to put a machine in that would check.
We do
Is that
have-
machine in,
Yes,
and it's being used?
it is being used.
Thank you.
All right. Can we get a motion on that, or?
I'd make a motion that we table it until next week and until they can have their representation.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carries. All right, 7B, the meat market alcohol noncompliance penalty hearing.
Mayor and council members, on November 1st, 2018, the Forest Lake Police Department conducted their alcohol compliance checks, and an individual under the age of 21 entered the premises of the meat market in Forest Lake and was served an alcoholic beverage. She was not asked for her identification, her age. Per city records, this is the first violation the meat market has had in the past 24 months. City code does state there is a $500 financial penalty as a minimum for the first violation within 24 months. Council, of course, has the right to impose any other sanctions as they see fit. This is a hearing too, and I don't know if anyone is here to speak on behalf of the meat market.
Do I need to open up a public hearing, or it's not a public hearing, it's just a hearing?
It's just a hearing, it's not a public hearing.
Okay. Is there anyone from the meat market here? All right. Would anyone like to speak on this? All right, let's turn it over to council for discussion then.
I'd just like to have Bailey explain, if you don't mind, Bailey, excuse me, Bridget, what exactly we're looking at and what the possibilities are and what our obligations are. I just want to review what I read, okay, for the public.
Certainly. Your Honor, members of the council, this is an alcohol compliance check failure, which is a violation of the alcohol license, the on-sale intoxicating liquor license that has been issued to the meat market. It is the first violation within 24 months, and so the city code does provide that the presumptive penalty for this type of violation is a $500 civil penalty. So the presumptive penalty is not a license suspension, it's not a license revocation. It's my understanding that in the past there haven't been a significant number of these types of failures, and so there isn't a typical practice of the council of imposing anything above and beyond the mandatory minimum, if you would, as far as I am aware. And so the council is being asked to consider resolution number 11-26-18-06, which does find that there was a liquor license violation, specifically the failure of that compliance check based on the record that's provided to you in your council packet, and then imposes potentially a sanction of a $500 civil penalty and provides that that shall be paid by December 10th. Certainly, it's up to the council's discretion to impose that mandatory minimum penalty or some other amount based on the will of the council, but that is the recommendation and that is what is stated in the city code.
All right, thank you.
Question for Bridget. We have a history on first violations of following the $500. Is that correct? We have not done additional penalties in the past. Is that my?
That is my
recollection?
understanding.
Is that true?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
This is the only violation so far?
In the past 24 months, yes.
So we only go back 24 months? Is that how we keep track?
Our business is at home.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I'm just asking, on any compliance check, do we just go back 24 months, or is there a longer history than that, or are we not allowed to? Let's put it that way.
So Mayor, members of the council, I'll answer, and then Bailey can add anything that she sees fit as well. The way the code is structured, the penalty matrix, if you would, it looks back that 24-month look-back period. So that's why that's referenced in the materials in front of you. But certainly, if the city has history of prior violations, I think that would be something we'd normally bring to the council's attention. My understanding is that that does not exist, that the reason the reference point is 24 months is because that's what the code says, and that outside of that reference period, there aren't also any prior violations. Is that correct, Bailey?
That's correct.
A couple questions. Number one, I presume, seeing as no one's here from that business, that they're not contesting any of this. They are going ahead and pay the fine? Anybody?
That may be the case.
Okay, and then the second thing, when we had the tobacco incidents with underage, we required them to put their employees through some kind of training. Does the same hold true for alcohol?
I believe there's a training put on by the county, and I do send notification to the county on failures, and I think that they contact those businesses or individuals directly. I don't know their process on that, and invite them to a training if they do host one. They did host a tobacco one this past year, and I did get the attendance record of who attended that one.
So they did send their people? or some of their people?
Some of the businesses, yes.
Chief, couple questions. First off, the actual server was given a citation as well, correct?
That is correct.
How much is that citation?
I'm
Do you have any?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know off the top of my head.
And I guess, do they have a full-service liquor license, or is it like just a beer and wine license? Where?
They have a full service on sale and Sunday liquor license.
Okay. And were they given us, the business owner given a citation as well at that time, or, I mean, are they aware that this meeting is tonight?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that,
I sent notification on November 8th to let them know that this meeting was taking place today.
okay. All right. Any other questions? All right, well, I'll look for a motion. I mean, I think,
Yeah, I'm
it's
just-
pretty straightforward. I mean.
It kind of sounds like we're kind of stuck with that resolution, so therefore I'd make a motion that we adopt resolution 11-26-18-06.
All right, do we have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
I guess, and I keep bringing this up, but I don't know that we can do anything about it. In this case, it was a kind of a sting operation, right, Chief? But you sent someone in there for a compliance check.
Yes, that's correct.
In the event that they got busted for serving underage people, but not a compliance check, what, if anything, is done to the underage person?
Well, in this case, it was a compliance
Right.
check.
I
right?
understand that.
Okay.
But if it weren't, and they were serving underage, what happens to the people that are, I guess, falsifying their ID or their age, if anything?
Well, if we're notified
Yeah.
of something like that, we'll definitely deal with it. And they can get, altering a driver's license. If we find out that somebody had purchased alcohol that was underage, we'll handle it, depending on what the situation is. But there's no protocol, and if we don't know somebody's in there purchasing alcohol and they're underage.
The only reason I bring it up is, the case with the vape shop right prior to this that we just discussed, that they're in the position of losing their business. But what happens to the person that, in my mind, is part of them losing their business? And can we do anything, or do we do anything?
People that are going in underage buying.
Correct. And if they have this card system that says they're underage, do we then do something with the person that tried to buy that?
Yeah, if we come across that, unfortunately, it's difficult to come across that unless you're there and
I thought part of that card system was that, the business owners were supposed to report back to the police department, underage individuals trying to buy product.
there's nothing, there's no law or anything out there or
I
ordinance.
know it
or
wasn't a
anything.
law, but I know last vape shop issue, we had 3 different vape shops, I think, that failed, and part of that discussion was that they would be turning in the names or the IDs of the underage individuals that were trying to buy there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we were ever called to and notified of somebody who was attempting to purchase and they turned them away.
It's just a yes or no.
And I think what Mayor's referencing is there was discussion about, is it possible for at the weekend for them to submit the card reader data to the city for review? And we just aren't set up for that type of data to get transmitted in a secure fashion at this point. You have a lot of license information, identifiable information within that data set, and it's be a pretty large liability if somebody were to hack that in transit, and we just don't have the secure server set up between our location and their location to verify that we're secure point to point on that. So that's one of the reasons why that was never implemented.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I just, so I'll support the motion as made tonight in the resolution. Just wanted to make the point that when these situations happen, it is always nice when the license holder comes to the hearing and tells us what they're going to do. So in absence of that, I hope it is a wake-up call, and I hope it's an opportunity for some training and some additional reinforcement of that it's important because we don't want to be back here on a second violation.
All right. And one more question, Chief. When you do these compliance checks, is it random or do you check all the license holders within a day or two in the city or how?
And in this case, in regards to the alcohol compliance check, we check all the alcohol retailers, bars and also other retail stores that sell alcohol. In regards to tobacco, it's the same. And I can get into that at our next week's meeting in regards to the CloudX, CloudX violation.
Sure.
So we don't get into it here, but there are certain times where we do get a complaint, numerous complaints, and we have every right to go in and specifically check that business to see if they are in fact selling alcohol or tobacco to minors.
All right, thank you. All right, well, we kind of drifted off, but we do have a motion and a second. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. 2019 meeting calendar. Haley.
As we discussed at last week's workshop, the 2019 meeting calendar is up for adoption. Any changes that you wish to see, you can speak on now. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and make that official.
I didn't check every dot. Are there any changes from what we looked at in last? Okay.
No.
I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion. We approve the 2019 meeting calendar as
Second.
proposed.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Oh, all right. So 4-1, or 4-0-1, something like that. And Lakeside Memorial Park equipment. Jamie, I think I just got thawed out from the tree lighting last night.
I'm still thawing out. Still trying to get warm. Mayor, members of the City Council, I'm here this evening on behalf of Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission, seeking final approval of the Lakeside Memorial Park Playground project that has been in discussion over the past few months. The three main components of this project have included the playground equipment and design, the use of the existing equipment, and surfacing. So during this process, the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission have taken into account the feedback and direction from City Council that has been provided. At this time, the recommendation coming forward took in consideration updated playground designs to include more play features. They also updated the quote from Themed Concepts to eliminate any credits for reusing of equipment so that the project will have all new equipment, again, as direction provided by City Council. The existing equipment will be listed as surplus equipment in the near future and in an effort to sell the equipment and save on the removal cost, which is $6,450. And then lastly, has this city staff and Parks Commission have done some pretty thorough analysis and review of surfacing options for the playground. When this was originally presented, the surfacing cost was about $73,000, so council said, let's revisit that. So that's been reviewed in great detail. After reviewing 5 different quotes for the pour-in-place product for surfacing, which is the recommendation for moving forward, Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission has a recommendation for moving forward with a reputable company, and they offer a competitive price with a $51,771.62, so that cost for surfacing went down by over $20,000. The Parks Commission is prepared and excited to make this investment to enhance one of our most popular parks in the downtown area and help draw people into Forest Lake. The funding for this project is available in our park dedication account, and pending final approvals from council, it's projected this project would be projected for completion in spring of 2019 before parks open. So with that said, seeking approval tonight of the items listed in the staff recommendation in the provided memo, which includes the Themed Concepts quote 18.294-1.4, which is the remaining purchase of playground equipment. The Themed Concepts quote 18.294-3, which is the concrete slab work to be completed, and the surfacing quote from Ultimate Playgrounds for the surfacing component. With that, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
Thank you, Jamie. A couple of questions.
Sure.
I have just, with some of the discussions we had, there were talk about adding, or possibly in the future adding, maybe a water, sand table, some type of interactive thing that would be, you know, allow more of a handicapped or disability access to, you know, the water, the sand, things like that. Before we pour the concrete slabs, as we're doing this construction, has there been any talk about, you know, potentially placing water lines, anything like that there? So if we did want to add something, that could be done?
There haven't been any in-depth conversations about that. In the conversations with Themed Concepts, that there would be the opportunity to add that. The concrete slab is going to be poured in the existing container space. So I think if, you know, we're not digging any additional areas up, and I don't think that where the water table is planned for a phase 2 project, it'd be outside of that container space. So I believe that would have to just be revisited at that time. So, and I don't know if Dave Adams has any comment on like the water portion of that, but I think it would just be, I don't think that where they're pouring the concrete slab, I would think it'd have to be handled separately anyhow.
Okay. And I guess the only other thing I didn't see in the plan, I don't think we talked about it at all, was maybe some additional lighting on that south edge of the beach area. It's kind of there by itself. Either some motion activated or, you know, something. Yeah, we got $150,000 worth of playground equipment there. I think we need to make it accessible a little bit later at night and also for security purposes.
Okay.
All right.
On that note, last time we talked about this, we're contemplating letting parks keep their maintenance budget for next year. Let it carry over in 19. I think doing that would also enable them to do things like put those lights up. Out of that, we'll have to come back to council for.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with putting that money in the budget, but I don't think it, I would have to get direction from staff. I don't know if it can just roll over or not.
Yeah, I think that would be something to come back to a different meeting. The plan is to have this come from the park dedication account, and then we can revisit that within, prior to next week's meeting, you know, how that component would potentially work. But this is fully funded and funding available in the park dedication.
Yeah.
So I can follow up on that other aspect.
I don't like the use it or lose it type thing to where they have to spend the money, but, yeah, we can put it back in the budget for next year or something, but I would just have to find out from staff for sure if we can let it roll over.
Doesn't
And
it
I'm
stay
sure
in
they
budget because it's in the park dedication fund? It needs to
No, the
be-
maintenance isn't in the dedication
Oh,
fund.
maintenance. I'm with you.
I was just thinking along the lines of if we're gonna add lighting, which definitely seems like a good option. It's gonna go up if you tie it into project. I don't know what's in the dedication fund to support that.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know if, I mean, I'm sure there's streetlights, you know, along there if XL Energy could, you know, put a pole and a light in or, you know, anything like that, so, but,
It's all city owned through the park, so we'd have to install them ourselves.
okay. Might be, I don't know what kind of lighting we have in the park right now. I don't think we have anything, do we?
We have the decorative lights. It could be a matter of adding some additional ones either to match what's already there or something else, so.
All right.
With the new equipment, Jamie, is this year-round equipment, or does some of it have to be stored in the winter, or can it withstand the winter, I guess?
It can withstand the winter. It would be year-round. The comparable option would be like at Cedar Park with the Dragon that's there. It's the same kind of materials, and that's withstand the weather great and still in great condition.
So there's no like canvas pieces or anything that you'd have to take down?
Nope, I think everything would be sufficient to stay year-round.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I know Team Concepts does some great work anyway. It makes some really nice, unique pieces, so definitely can support this one. Do you need, do we need a motion then to, or?
Yeah. Motion to approve, as indicated in the staff memo, the Themed Concepts quote for the playground equipment, themed concepts quote for the concrete slab and the surfacing from Ultimate Playgrounds.
So moved.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I still find the price of the surfacing staggering. I think that, you know, it came down quite a bit. I appreciate that, but it's still hard to believe a half-inch thick piece of foam rubber is going
So
to.
a quick comment on that is that's about 3.5 inches. Some of it's for the surfacing protection, the top half layers, the coloring and coating. There's no perfect solution, but this is the best recommendation, a really competitive price with little to no maintenance, so our maintenance costs will go down, and that's the upfront investment. You save time and cost from the maintenance perspective.
And anticipated lifespan of that product?
At least about 7 to 10 years.
Does this one come with a 10-year warranty?
It's a 7-year warranty, and they're willing to extend it an additional 3 years with kind of a phased approach. But I did include this. There is a 7-year warranty.
All right. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And Ryan.
Mayor, City Council, as part of the city's pavement management and capital improvement plan, we request the City Council authorize plans and specifications for bids for the 2019 street pavement maintenance project. Attached in the packet is the project location map. You can see the area that will certainly be the base bid, and if bids come in favorable, we'll extend it to the other portions as identified. The city's budgeted just over $1 million for the local street project, and this would for surely get almost 2 miles of roadway here. The anticipated project schedule is below, so we will have an early bid opening here to maximize on the bidding environment and the new bituminous plant opening up for the 2019 construction season. So if there's any questions, or otherwise we look for a motion for authorizing preparation of plans and specifications for the 2019 street pavement maintenance project.
Are there any dirt roads along here, gravel roads that we should look at? Since we do have a new gravel to asphalt policy, is there anything in those areas we should maybe reach out to property owners and try and work with?
Your closest gravel road is 224th.
24th.
Obviously, if we go down the path of an assessment project, that schedule is portrayed there adds approximately 4 to 6 months to that.
There's a project proposed on 224th that would pave a portion of that, is that correct? Is that?
So they have a July 2018 review comment letter and haven't addressed the comments yet, so I don't know what the status of that project is.
Maybe stalled, okay.
All right. Any other questions?
One thing too, Public Works would be starting televising the sanitary sewer and storm sewer this week as well, so that'd be incorporated into the project if repairs are needed.
All right, perfect. Any other comments or questions?
The results of that study that you just mentioned comes back to council as part of any amendments that, again, would be in the January meeting, is that correct? As we're
So if
doing-
there's a lot of repairs as identified at the televising, then for sure we don't get to the additional area.
Okay.
So, but if we went over the 1,005,000, then we would have to come back to council, but that's not our anticipation. So we always work within the budget given.
Thank you.
So typically with the televising, would we then be doing like a in-place liner, or would that be digging up and repairing, or?
Typically what we would do with the street projects, if we identify any open cut replacements that would be incorporated in the project, if it's simply just lining, we will put those with the projects that are identified with funding with lining projects, so you're lining, that's all you're doing.
Okay.
This area out here is predominantly plastic as well, so I'm not
Should be pretty
seeing
durable.
that there's gonna be very many issues. One thing that's included in their bid already basically is all the manholes are gonna go down to the cone, and then they rebuild all the rings back up to the top. All new castings and all that to get rid of I&I and on storm structures as well. You see the holes collapsing along the curb line, we repair all them up too. that's already pretty much accounted for. It's the surprises that you find televising and bad soils that you might run into.
We're gonna be getting some millings out of this project.
So, last question, I mean, these are out more of the rural areas, but is there any potential to tap in water main extensions? I mean, I don't see it here, but, I think that's a discussion that, you know, the city and the council need to look at is, you know, how do we continue to build out our water system in different areas? And, I mean, it doesn't affect the roads we have right now, but I think we need to be cognizant of that as we go into the future because, you know, with the amount of costs we have coming up in our water system, I think we need to try to expand that. I mean, we've got to get more users, more volume to kind of keep up with the new plants and, you know, try to keep the cost per gallon down there wherever we can. So just a comment for, you know, for staff, for Ryan to kind of keep in mind and as these projects come up in the future. All right, so I'll look for a motion.
I make a motion then that we approve the authorization and plan specifications and approve the plan specification, authorize the bid and the bid opening up to a total of $1,005,000 as proposed by Ryan.
I'll
All
second
right,
it.
motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. All right, Winnick Supply invoices.
Make a motion, we pay the Winnick Supply invoices.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Or abstain, sorry. All right, staff updates. Chief Newman?
I have nothing unless you have something for me.
And Jamie?
Just we had our annual tree lighting ceremony last night. It was cold. The wind chill was a little brutal, but we still actually had a pretty good turnout. Probably 200-300 people. Children saw Santa. We had sleigh rides in the park. A lot of great entertainment performances. So just thanks to everybody who helped make that event possible, and we just hope everyone had fun and enjoyed.
Yeah.
Thanks for all who came.
Did a great job with it.
Thank
A lot of entertainers. I was impressed by that, and I'm sure the hot chocolate was gone anyway, so.
We did. That warmed you up, so.
There you go. All right, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dan?
The Silver Singers Annual Holiday Show is scheduled for December 7th at the Forest Lake Senior Center from 1 to 2. So I told Sharon I would announce that, and December 7th last year was a well-attended event, and she's hoping for another highly attended event this year as well.
All right, sounds great. Thank you. Chief Peterson?
The only update I have for you is that the police department is going to be enforcing the no parking on any city streets. That is enforced between November 1st through April 15th. If any vehicles are parked on the street longer than 30 minutes between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., they are subject to receiving a citation.
All right.
So just a reminder for all residents.
All right. Bailey?
Nothing from me, thank you.
All right. And Patrick?
No, I just was at the tree lighting myself yesterday. I'd just like to congratulate Jamie for a job well done. It was a nice attendance on a pretty cold day, so that's it.
Thank you. And Bridget?
No update, Your Honor.
Ryan?
No updates unless there's any questions?
Dave?
No updates.
All right. Well, I seen you did the pre-treatment before the Thanksgiving holiday weekend anyway, and
Turns out it turned to rain, so that.
yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, very much. We'll be out again tomorrow or Wednesday for that next one that's coming through, so.
Much safer. I appreciate that. It was great for you to go to that system instead of trying to battle it afterwards with the salt anyway. I think really nice
It definitely-
safety improvement on our roads anyway.
Definitely pays off.
All right. And Sam?
Oh, thank you. Since the last regular meeting we had, there was Veterans Day that came in. And I couldn't make the breakfast that morning, but my wife represented me there, so appreciate that. And then they had another program that evening at the VFW, and it was well attended, and another good meal, and it was good to see lots of folks there representing and honoring our veterans. The last school board meeting I was at, of course, the big subject there is the referendum that has passed now, and the main thing I want to tell you there that there's going to be some public input in there, so stay tuned. And I meant to bring the dates when that was going to happen, and walked away tonight and didn't. So stay tuned, but there will be some public information about how this is going to pass. So that's all I have right now. Thank you. Except that I did attend the ADA meeting this evening also.
All right, thank you. And Ed?
No report.
All right, thank you. Well, yeah, like I said, I had the opportunity to attend the tree lighting ceremony as well. We attended senior center meeting, and thank you for reminding me about that, so got that covered. Veterans Day ceremonies, they did a great job over there as well, so other than that, and Sam, you covered the EDA meeting tonight, so that's all I got for you. Wayne?
I don't have an update, but I am curious about an update. We get anywhere on that maintenance agreement with the school and the bus route road?
If you're asking me, I have not heard anything, so.
I know meetings are gonna be scheduled, but I haven't heard anything since.
No.
I think we both have updates on that, right?
Yeah, there actually was some movement on it. I reached out to the school district, presented the option of they could either go, if they want, their preferred option was vacation. I said, if you want to pursue vacation, then you need to do the title work and kind of do all the back end work and bring it to the city. I said, if you realize you don't want to go down that road due to underlying ownership issues, maintenance agreement is still on the table. So there is that kind of log jam that was there, that existed there for a number of months, has now been opened up. They're kind of doing their background investigative work. So we have kind of, don't have a definitive timeline when it's going to come back, but they wanted to pursue the vacation road as intended from day one. And we kind of told them the city's position is that we're not going to put the resources into doing all that title cleanup work, but if they want to go through that exercise, we'd be at least open to hearing what they come back with.
And as a follow-up, the attorney for the school district did reach out to me late last week, right before the holiday. We haven't connected yet, but he did want to start the conversation again, so.
All right.
Thank you.
Great question, Blaine. Just on a tie-in to that, as far as title work goes, for our water treatment plant, where are we at with that?
The attorney who drafted is still working on I believe the corrective document, correct, Bridget?
Right, we're in the process of working on that with Jenny Bolton from Kennedy and Graven.
All right, thank you. And Mara?
Ditto comments already made on the tree lighting and the Veterans Day breakfast hosted by Beyond the Yellow Ribbon. Both great events. Also attended a Leland neighborhood meeting for an update that they have coming forward to the Planning Commission for their CUP on both campuses. It's a modification to what we've seen for their upper campus at Headwaters, and then an update that they want to make to the annex building at their main campus. And so it's coming up to, so well-attended neighborhood meeting and information coming in front of the Planning Commission. That's all I've got.
All right, thank you. And we'll look for motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.